Can we just keep going like this, or is there something else that we should probably be doing instead? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I get a lot of comments, usually when I talk about Elon Musk, that describes him in unflattering terms, and I'm quite confused by it. I don't know where this is coming from, really. I mean, you might not be a fan of his, and yes, he is a billionaire, and maybe he's got his own agenda, but I'm looking at him recently, and everything that he seems to be coming out with is on the right side of history. It's the sort of stuff I would say. So I don't necessarily know where this pushback is coming from. I mean, we've got his public falling out with Donald Trump over the Epstein client list and the lack of transparency. We've got him coming out constantly in favor of Western ideals and Western identity and trying to push that forward. I've got a couple of examples for you. In his pinned comments right here, it says the EU Commission should be disbanded in favour of an elected body, and an EU president should be directly elected. The current system is ruled by bureaucracy, not democracy. I mean, yeah, it's an old take, and a lot of Europeans saw this a long time ago, but it's something that no other prominent figure is really talking about. You know, he's saying things that no one really bothers to say or is too afraid to say. And that's kind of where I am right now. He's the only one that's really coming out and saying this stuff that's not Rupert Law. You know, apart from Rupert Law and maybe one or two other people, he's the only one that's saying this stuff. We've got another one here. The doom of Western civilization must be averted. Diversity and multiculturalism were always codes for whites becoming minorities in every single country, city and small village. A West ruled by foreigners who despise it, in collusion with domestic enemies who equally abhor it. Its institutions occupied, it's morally inverted, intellectually subdued, occupied by ballots, invaded without an army, shamed into submission, and mustered no resistance. We are witnessing the historical suicide of a civilization. The West will change, but change isn't always for the better. The third worldist shitholization of the West is here. New Zealand is now just 55.9% European, with whites set to be a minority by as early as 2028. And that will be the vision and the future of all white countries. So why is this all happening at the same time? Well, all you guys know that I've got my own theories on this. I don't think it's one particular group. I think that there's a cabal of enemies that are working together to try and do this. But like I said, you don't get anyone else retweeting stuff like this. You don't get anyone else really sounding the alarm quite like he's been doing. And I have to say, I commend him for it. You know, there's another one. They are openly advocating for white genocide. Again, no one else talks about this. Let's see what he's tweeted.
And white Americans will soon be a minority, and that's great.
You know, whites will not be the majority. I mean, it's an exciting transformation of the country. It's an exciting evolution.
You know where these guys are from, right? You know what? He doesn't see himself as a white guy, by the way. We all know that. Quite a lot of these wolves in sheep's clothing, they profess to be white until they're backed into actually admitting that they see themselves as quite different, superior.
And, you know, progress of our country.
We are going to be a white minority very, very soon. I'm okay with that.
If things are so bad, as you say, with the white working class, don't you want to get new Americans in?
America is going to look very different in 100 years. You're not going to be able to tell you're black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're...
Yep, I've talked about this as well before, guys. One of the plans that they have is to create a European Negroid, with an IQ of about 90, so that you're just clever enough to be able to do tasks, menial jobs, things like that, but you're not quite clever enough to be able to revolt against the system.
Puerto Rican, whatever. It's going to be very complex, and I think ultimately that's going to be good.
White Americans feel that they're losing their country, they're losing ownership of the country, and they're right. In the end, they are not the future.
For the first time in American history, the number of white people went down.
White population is declining for the first time in history in America.
White people will not be the majority in the country anymore.
This will be the first generation ever in American history in which whites will be a minority.
Treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity.
To abolish whiteness is to abolish white people.
White people are committed to being villains in the aggregate, right? We got to take these motherfuckers out.
Was it or was it not the duty of every good revolutionary to kill all newborn white babies?
We have to kill white people.
When do we start killing white people?
I don't want to say we need to go start killing all white folks, but it's like, but maybe.
When we say we want to kill whitey, we don't really mean we want to kill whitey, we do.
We have to exterminate white people off of the face of the planet to solve this problem.
Fuck white people!
An unrelenting stream of immigration. Non-stop. Non-stop. Folks like me who are Caucasian of European descent will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
Anyway, so imagine that was reversed, and I hate doing this because we all know the story here. We're the racists, we're the ones that are the bad people, but we're the ones that also would never say something like that. I actually do believe that we should probably start saying something like that. You know, I do believe it's going to get to that point soon where if we do not stand up and actually fight for our future, then it's just going to be taken from us. So again, I do tip my hat to Elon Musk. He is actually fighting the good fight. He is one of the few people that are actually coming out and saying something about this. You know, we've got EU members that are being, so EU countries within the European Union, they're fined if they refuse to take migrants currently. So this is a concerted push by the elitists, those in charge, pulling the strings, fining countries for not engaging in demographic suicide. We've got here, this is amazing, guys. Citizen journalist in England captures the moment another plane full of men from Afghanistan land in the UK as part of one of the many settlement schemes. So they're talking about the boats and all this, right? Trying to distract us with the boats, saying that, yes, we will try and combat the boats. Everyone look at the boats. Meanwhile, they're just shipping them in through the airport. This is insane. We told you it was happening just like America under Biden. It's not just boats. It's probably hundreds of thousands of migrants arriving on planes via government and NGO managed initiatives to import as many people as possible. So again, the government, they know that this has happened. They're the ones facilitating it. They're the ones lying to you, saying that it's actually the boats, but it's not. It's the airports, guys. Meanwhile, Tony Blair's come out and said exactly what I told you guys was going to happen. So he's basically saying that Shabana Mahmood is going to be the next leader of the Labour Party and possibly the next leader of this country, which would be the final nail in the coffin, I believe. I mean, a stamp of approval from the devil himself. I don't really need to say much more about this orangutan, this absolute witch. So anyway, Elon also tweeted this, and I agree with this as well. If tolerance means the end of Western civilization, then we cannot be tolerant. I've said it myself. You just can't be nice to these people anymore. It's not about racism. It's about survival. They're going to accuse you of hurty words. Meanwhile, your entire future's at stake. And they openly celebrate the death of every white person. So we've got to get over this hump, this idea that we have to restrain ourselves, that we've got to be the nice ones, the tolerant ones. I believe that time has passed. We've got to start being openly antagonistic towards them. We have to fight back just as vehemently as they're trying to destroy us, because otherwise we'll just fade off into the night without a whimper. And I don't really want to see that. We've seen this in this video recently in Ireland. A new group called the New Republican Movement has claimed that local representatives are legitimate targets. So I don't know what that means, guys. You can probably read into that yourself and figure out what that means. Mass immigration and indoctrination of children in schools are cited as reasons for these legitimate targets. So, let's listen to what they say.
To the people of Newry, Mourne and Down,
We, the New Republican movement, have watched their councillors and MLAs over the past 12 months. The level of disrespect shown to the people who put you into power, this cannot be ignored any longer. We are proud men of Ireland. We are patriots. Your policies and decision-making in regards to flooding our communities with undocumented military-aged men is not acceptable. We will not sit back any longer and watch our culture and religion destroyed by the people we put in power. Also, the sexual indoctrination of our children in schools has not went unnoticed either. The New Republican movement will take immediate action against anyone who threatens our ways of life and the safety of our women and children. We have your addresses and known your movements. Every one of you are legitimate targets as of today. The New Republican movement, the 28th of 11/25.
Well, that sounds as though there's a group of people in Ireland, and there might be other groups elsewhere in the UK, that are sick of the system. They know that they're not going to be able to vote their way out of this because they've been trying to vote their way out of this for decades. And every time we elect someone, we elect them on promises of change and promises that they're going to respect our wishes and fight for our interests. And when they get into power, they do the opposite. They open the borders further. They allow more people in. They lie to us about how many people they're letting in. They lie to us about how they're letting these people in. It's like we found out recently, what was it? Almost 100,000 Afghanis were smuggled into the country. And the government, not only did they not tell you about it, but they placed a gagging order on the press for 2 years. So we didn't even know they were doing this. And that's just one example. They might have been doing this the whole time, and we just haven't found out all the other places that they've been smuggling people in from. So I can understand the frustration of these guys. And I think the government, all Western governments, probably need to start realizing that the people will not just accept this. Like we're going to see more things like this moving forward as people get more desperate and realize that we can't just vote for traitors all the time. It's kind of pointless. And I don't know, what do you do with traitors? You can't really negotiate with them, can you? So I can fully understand why these guys are making these kinds of videos. And, you know, we've seen in Bulgaria recently, after masses of people protesting, the government has resigned. So this is the difference between our protests and what we see on the continent. It says, and I've said we need to do this as well, if we were to protest, what we can't do is march down to London and then eat some candy floss, sing some hymns, and then just piss off. Because that's not really a protest, that's just a nice day out, you know. So what you have to do instead is you have to occupy London. You have to occupy Westminster. You have to not leave until the government leaves. And that's it. Like, there's no negotiation. The people here, they were protesting in place for days upon days, and they just didn't leave until the government resigned. So that's one way of doing it. We've seen another one. This is another way of doing it. I mean, I'm not condoning either, or, you know, I can't legally do that. I'm sure YouTube wouldn't like it. But the alternative is to do nothing. And I'll be honest, guys, they're not just going to pat you on the head and say, oh, well done for doing nothing. Well done. No, they're just going to continue. They're going to continue doing what they're doing, and they're going to take even more rights from you. They're going to make your life even worse because they hate you and they don't want you to have a future.
Dans ce nouveau monde, on doit accepter une transparence, et je dirais même une transparence.
They want complete transparency. I mean, for you guys, I'm sure they're not going to be transparent. I'm sure their hard drives will be safely secured with whatever the fuck they've got on there.
Transparence totale. Tout va être transparent. Et il faut s'habituer, il faut se comporter ainsi. Ça devient, comment dirais-je, intégré dans votre personnalité, mais si on n'a rien à cacher, il ne faut pas avoir peur.
So what Klaus is talking about there is his idea of a digital implant. So he wants to implant into your brain a chip in which they can monitor your thoughts. Sounds like crazy sci-fi, right? It really isn't. Okay, so that's something else that you've got to be aware of further down the line. They're going to just take more of, they're going to take your individuality away from you. Your privacy of thought will be stripped away from you. And as he says, if you're not a bad person, then you shouldn't be afraid of it, you know? Stripping away your identity, that's not a bad thing if you've got nothing to hide, according to Klaus Schwab. So, like I said, they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And if it means, if they have to, this is what I think will happen with Russia. They will go to war with Russia eventually. And what they will do is they will conscript people using the migrants that they brought in. The migrants will act like the police, rounding up all of the fighting age white guys, and they'll be sent over to a pointless war. Well, not pointless, to the meat grinder, to the Ukrainian meat grinder. And of course it will spill over and infect different countries. They'll be dragged into the war as well. And I believe personally that this is just all designed to destroy the fighting age population of Western Europe. So when the big change happens, when they finally take off the mask and say, yes, we do hate you, we have been doing this all along, but now all of your fighting age men are dead and there's nothing you can do about it. So when I get pushback, when I mention Elon Musk and other people that I think are fighting the good fight, I do find it a little bit confusing. And I just want to say on one more thing, if I can find it. If you think that Reform UK are the answer to this, then please let me know in the comments how you can justify this. How can Reform UK allow a Bangladeshi migrant to be standing in one of their elections? Now, Reform UK, they're on record, Nigel Farage is on record as not being up to the fight against Islam, not being up to the idea of mass deportations. He's also hired a lot of Muslims as candidates. He's also now appointed this candidate from Bangladesh. I'm just wondering, guys, if Reform UK are the party of change and they're the only show in town, then why does the only show in town look exactly like the Conservatives or exactly like the Labour Party? Again, right, you've got to wonder, when we've got no option, you know, what do people do? You know, can we just keep going like this, or is there something else that we should probably be doing instead? I don't know. Anyway, guys, if you do like the channel, obviously subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.